the story. I simply have the link.
To what?
To the Bud Light story.
Yeah, I never do that because...
Need your help. Need your help.
Boy.
Hey, gang. Action, excitement, entertainment. They have it all at Parks Casino and Sportsbook in the Philly Burbs, just 90 minutes from the Isle of Manhattan, where I am seated. It's the only casino and sportsbook I recommend. Make a night of it. Dine at one of the many award-winning restaurants like Parks Grill Steakhouse, Liberty Bell Gastro Pub, the Beer Garden. It all sounds great, right? Play any of the 3,200 state-of-the-art slots, 115 table games. I told you, I sent our son-in-law's parents over to Parks 2 weeks ago. They loved it. They're from out of state. They loved Parks Casino. You will too. Top headliners coming to the Excite Center inside Parks Casino include Foreigner, Hot Blooded, Dionne Warwick still has the pipes, the Wallflowers. They've never called you that, TC. The Wallflower. They've never called TC a wallflower.
No.
Dan, a little bit. TC, never. Dave Koz and friends. Wayne Newton, Woody and Helen coming in from North Carolina to see Wayne Newton. You should, too. For tickets and a complete list of upcoming shows, visit parkscasino.com. Parks Casino and Sportsbook. This is how you win. Got to be 21 or older. Gambling problem, call 1-800-GAMBLER. So, headlines now from Smerconish.com. The newsletter. The nights that I've guest hosted on CNN, tonight will be the third. Already they're running together. I guess it was Monday night that HBO star Bomani Jones, a good talker, was my guest, and we were talking about Dylan Mulvaney. And we were talking about, the whole backlash from Anheuser-Busch having, as sort of a token to an influencer, put Dylan Mulvaney's image on beer cans. You understand, they were never going to sell Dylan Mulvaney Bud Light. It was like, she's an influencer. Here, we'll put her image on, and she'll talk about us. Brilliant, frankly. So they did that, and then everything hit the fan because there was such a rebellion against Bud Light, and it included Kid Rock shooting up beer cans with some type of an automatic weapon, wearing his MAGA garb because he was so incensed that, F Bud Light, that you're doing this deal with Dylan Mulvaney. I don't get it. I just don't understand the animus that some folks have for transgendered individuals. My criticism in this case, my criticism of Anheuser-Busch Bud Light was from a business standpoint, not for sending beer cans to Dylan Mulvaney, but rather for the vice president of marketing, who now is on leave, making comments about how on a podcast, as I recall, in the discussion of this issue, and making comments that they needed to get away from their fratty culture. And that I said it here on POTUS. I said, now that's stupid. That was a dumb comment. Why would you alienate your base? So anyway, I had this dialogue with Bomani Jones on Monday night, and he was disagreeing with some of my opinion on this. We both agreed that, the reaction to the trans community is just untethered and ridiculous. But when I made the statement that they were wrong to attack their own client base with the fratty culture comment, and I said, and their sales are really taking a dive as a result, he pushed back on that, and he said, well, paraphrasing it, maybe it's correlation, not causation. And I said, no, their sales are way the hell down. Nothing else has happened that could account for a sudden drop of Anheuser-Busch Bud Light decline. Lo and behold, here's a story today from the New York Post, and it's posted at Smerconish.com in the newsletter. Bud Light suffers staggering 17% sales plunge amid Dylan Mulvaney controversy. Bud Light has suffered a staggering sales hit after the beer brand's controversial marketing tie-up with transgender influencer Dylan Mulvaney, with the latest data showing an alarming 17% drop, according to an industry research firm. The latest sales data from Nielsen and Bump Williams Consulting shows their sales fell 17% in dollars, while volume dropped a whopping 21% in the week that ended April 15. So who's being advantaged in this? Being advantaged is Coors Light. And what's the other one, TC? I guess it's
Miller.
Is it Miller Lite?
Yeah, exactly.
Miller Lite.
So Coors Light and Miller Lite have both gone up, while Bud Light has gone down. Which is, as you said, Michael, like that's too much. There's no such thing as a coincidence like that. That's a direct reaction.
Exactly. Anyway, the whole thing is just ridiculous. Whether this transgender issue continues and becomes a wedge issue in the 2024 election remains to be seen. But I wanted to say that at the outset. I wish I'd had that story on TV in my hip pocket on Monday night. I knew it, but I didn't have the data.
Right.
So.
You knew it was going to happen, but you didn't have the numbers, and the numbers are exactly what you said. So to be continued. But I've also seen signs of bars that are advertising very cheap Bud Light because I think they're trying to get rid of it because they're stockpiling it all of a sudden because people aren't drinking it. So
you must be joking.
No, I'm not joking. So yeah, there's a lot going on.
Wow.
So about last night, how are you doing?
Yeah.
What was the post-show regimen last night? Yes, I need to hear all about it. You still look good? Feeling good? What's going on?
Feeling good. I'm in New York. I'm hosting the CNN 9 o'clock hour. I did it Monday and Tuesday. I'll do it tonight. I'll do it tomorrow, and then I'm done. Yeah, I was asked. Catherine wanted to know. Catherine, my CNN producer.
I was going to say Catherine is your Saturday producer. Yeah.
But we're thrilled that she is back and healthy. And she said to me, hey, you're in town and RFK Jr. has consented to an interview with you. It's perfect timing. We'll do it on Friday. I'm like, I am not going to be here Friday. I got to get the hell out of here. I'm going home.
So are you still going to do the interview,
home.
But from afar?
I don't know.
Oh,
I don't know.
Oh, okay.
See, how much can they take? I mean, I had Gates on last night. If I put RFK Jr., it'll be Carlson, Lemon, Smerconish.
Hey, if not you, who? You know what I'm saying? Come on.
You
bookended last night. You started with Gates. And as we discussed, you ended with Patterson. So that was, or close to it. So, yeah.
So Patterson is an author of like 20 books, 16 of them New York Times bestsellers. His story is that he's written a new book. It's called Trial. It's a novel, and the protagonist is black. He's a white guy. You know, the Vineyard in San Francisco is where he lives. And he maintains that his book was rejected because publishers were uneasy, not with the writing, not with the quality, but because they just didn't want to touch a book where a white author is writing in, a black voice.
Yeah.
And it's not that he didn't handle the voice, right? It's not that it was inauthentic, but like, I don't know if we can do this.
Yeah, I find that very interesting.
A good conversation. I thought that was a good conversation, too.
I thought it was a great conversation. It was an interesting conversation. It was one I never thought of because I think of authors writing all different races, all different genders, and that's what authors do. They make up characters, right? So I found that very, very interesting.
What's the what's Harry Potter? I mean, he's a witch, but what is he? What do you call him?
What do you mean, a wizard?
A wizard, right?
The witches are the women. Hermione is a witch.
J.K. Rowling is not a wizard. Can she write about the wizards?
Oh boy, wow, you're really going there, aren't you?
Well, I don't know.
She made up this whole world. Is that okay?
I'm shot out of a cannon. It's one of those days where I could easily get myself in trouble. So please provide some guardrails.
Oh, great. I'm so good at that. Okay, so wait a minute. So last night, did your show, got home, drugged up. How was that?
So yesterday was quite a miserable day because first of all, the weather's beautiful, and I'm in a city that I love, and I'm in a decent hotel. I went from the SiriusXM studio. I grabbed something to eat. I went to my hotel. I didn't leave it until I was going to the CNN show, and I did because yesterday was a day when. And we've had these on radio, but yesterday was a day when nothing fell into place. Like, in the end, I'm very proud of the CNN program from last night. Happy to stand by that finished product. But it did not come easy. Guests that I had wanted, we couldn't make it work. And it was just a constant state of flux. So it was quite a draining day.
Okay, I understand that, but you have an iPhone. So you could put your iPhone in your pocket, take your buds in case someone needs to call you, and go for a walk and get some fresh air. I'm begging you.
No.
You got to move. You got to breathe.
Here, I had 30 minutes of pleasure yesterday. The show ends at 10 o'clock.
Oh, geez.
Okay. At 10 o'clock at night. I've been up since very early. I have to go. I don't want to sound like a whiner, but you're asking me a question. I'll give you a direct answer. So show ends at 10. Thank you very much. Thank you to the crew. Take off the makeup. I'm heavily made up.
How's the head, by the way?
You can laugh at me all you want.
Here we go.
But the thing on my head, every time I shower, it opens. It has not closed. I think I probably should have had a stitch.
Nah.
And
it's just a bump. Okay. It's like a scrape. It's not a line. How would you stitch it?
When I shower and bleeds.
Michael,
so then
wait a minute. I understand, but it's a scrape. It's not a cut. Cuts need to be stitched. It's just a scrape, and then you just keep opening it up by washing it.
Okay, I get it. I get it. You've had a hip replacement. You've had major. I get it. Okay, I get it. So
do you want to compare scars? Because I will.
No, I'm just saying. I banged my head on Friday moving stuff in the Philadelphia studio. It immediately gushed blood, and all I could think at the time, TC was of no help. TC sat there saying, "I have to send a segment down to Dan." And I'm running next door to get ice, and all I can think of is, oh my God, I've got to be on TV Saturday and next Monday through Thursday.
And Michael may have swore at me.
And now I have what did I say?
Yeah.
Get off your ass?
No, you didn't. That's not what you said. I remember exactly what you said, and we can discuss it later.
Okay. Why don't you put it in the memo to HR?
Oh, it's already there. The file is thick.
Anyway, all right, that's all I have to say. I'll be back on TV. But
tonight. You look good on TV. You cannot see that your bump on TV. Just to be clear.
It's because they're putting gobs of makeup on it, and the makeup irritates my wound and won't let me heal. That's what I wanted to say. No amount of Neosporin is going to allow it. I need one of those little Band-Aids that, what do they call them? Like a butterfly?
Band-Aid? Like a little steri strip?
Okay, nobody wants to hear this. Let's move on.
Okay,
let's move on. Nobody.
Poll results from yesterday. 22,979.
More headlines from Smerconish.com, the newsletter. That's the way we say it, TC, because we always want to remind people these are the headlines from the newsletter.
Okay, fine.
By the way, I continue to get nice comments from CNN colleagues who are like, hey, I really like your newsletter. I love hearing that.
Good.
I love hearing
Do they vote on the poll question?
Yeah, I think they do.
Good.
I think they do. Was the firing of Tucker Carlson in the best business interest of Fox News? The yeses were 76% and change, and TC's right. It was nearly 23,000 people who cast a ballot. Now, I love today's poll question. Could Gavin Newsom successfully challenged Joe Biden for the Democratic nomination? Last night, David Axelrod was a guest of mine on CNN, and I asked that of him. I said to him, what happens if Gavin Newsom were to get into this race? And David said that he thought that Obama would secure the nomination. I'm not so sure if that were the case. If Newsom could get him on the debate stage, all bets are off, in my opinion.
Wow.
In my opinion.
Wow.
Yeah. Do you disagree?
I disagree. I do not think he could garner the nomination. I do not.
I mean, there's precedent for you being right. There's precedent for you being right, not me. And that precedent would be Ted Kennedy taking on Jimmy Carter in 1980. And people were then pissed at Kennedy because they thought that he beat up Carter, setting the stage for Reagan to then take out Jimmy Carter, politically speaking, in 1980.
Oh, boy.
Yeah, exactly. Go ahead. You pick.
Okay, so I think this one's really
versed.
interesting. The Center Square headline from Smerconish.com. Michigan school district sued for viewpoint discrimination. This is about Let's Go Brandon t-shirts. Kids were told they were not allowed to wear Let's Go Brandon t-shirts. They sued because they said other teachers and students were allowed to wear rainbow and gay pride shirts, etc. So where is that line? Is this an anti-Trump situation, or is this is there a difference between Let's Go Brandon, which implies a swear word but doesn't say it? Like, is there a difference in the slogan, or are they being told they can't wear it because it's anti-Trump? That's the question that's being asked.
Okay, and you want my opinion?
Of course I do.
I'll sum it up in one word, and you will understand. Boobies.
Boobies. Boobies. Yeah, I hear you.
Do I have to say anything else?
Not to me. Do you want to explain it to people? Because they might think
I guess before they cut the tape and get me fired. Everybody wants to fire me this week.
I just added it to the HR file.
Why am I saying boobies?
You're saying boobies because there was a school district close to us. Do you remember which it was? And
no, you're right. It was Pennsylvania.
It was Pennsylvania. It was the school district of Pennsylvania. And there was a trend going around that the kids were wearing those rubber bracelets, bright colored rubber bracelets that said, I heart boobies. I heart boobies, like a little heart, in honor of Breast Cancer Awareness Month. So this must have been, I think, October. And so it was going crazy. The kids were wearing them. Then the kids were told they couldn't wear them. And then it became a big issue. And then all of a sudden, something which would not have been an issue became a huge issue. So from boobies to Brandon, that's what you're saying.
I'm saying ignore it. Ignore it. If kids show up with Let's Go Brandon t-shirt, ignore it. The minute you make a big stink about it and now you're trying to differentiate that versus this form of political speech, it's a stone cold loser for educators. And if you ignore it by Thursday, the shirts are gone. You make a big deal out of every kid and every parent wants to send their kid in. You wear this MAGA shirt.
Would you feel differently if it actually said F Biden or F Trump?
Oh, yeah, that I'm not allowing.
Okay, I'm just making sure.
I'm not allowing the F-bomb in school.
All right, okay.
That's reserved for SiriusXM.
Headline from rawstory.com, among other places. Mattel unveils Barbie doll with Down syndrome. I saw this all over Instagram yesterday. They have been doing a line of inclusive and representative Barbies. So Barbie's doing all kinds of different jobs. Barbie in a wheelchair, Barbies with various different abilities. And this one, they worked closely with the National Down Syndrome Society to make sure it accurately represents someone with Downs in the look of her face, in the crease in her hand. It's really neat.
That's what I wanted to ask. Okay, I'm for it. I'm for inclusion.
Okay.
I'm for normalizing in the view of little girls, boys, if they play with it.
Sure.
Down syndrome, it's a good thing.
Yeah.
But I don't understand. What does it actually mean? If I saw this Barbie, how would I know?
So you've probably seen pictures of it. So if you see pictures of it next to a regular Barbie, here are some of the differences. So like someone with Down syndrome, the Barbie has a shorter frame and a longer torso, a rounder face shape, smaller ears, a flatter nose, like almond sort of slightly slanted eyes. Instead of, if you look at your palm of your hand, instead of 2 creases on the palm, it only has 1. So different chromosomal differences that show up in a body with someone with Down syndrome, they carefully put in this Barbie. Does that make sense?
If I put them side by side, like you'd say, oh, that one looks different than this one.
Yes,
you would. Okay.
Absolutely, you would. And then they're also even to the dress pattern, which has butterflies in yellow and blue, which are part of Down syndrome awareness. So they really just went from top to bottom, and it's special. It's special, and I think it's inclusive, and it's never a bad thing to let people see representation of themselves in pop culture, on television, in toys, etc. So I recommend, I commend Mattel for doing that.
Me too.
Now, this is an interesting piece, speaking of influencers, etc. A piece in Vox about a new book on momfluencers. And the book is called Momfluenced by Sarah Patterson, talking about a group of women on Instagram, on TikTok, doing sort of the perfect mom life. And I have to say, Michael, I'm very well aware of this brand and this type of person.
How so?
Because of my Mormon bloggers. I follow, haven't I talked about this before on the radio? I follow closely several like Mormon mommy bloggers. It's a big thing with very wealthy Mormon bloggers, moms, that they work. This is their job, and they really do it well. And it is amazing.
Running the house.
No. Their job is to do social media. Yeah, they run the house. I'm sure they have lots of help. They don't always show it. But just a perfect representation of life. But what this is, the headline is interesting. The expensive, unrealistic, and extremely white world of momfluencers. It's just a fascinating piece from Vox that I think if you're not familiar, you need to take a look at.
I am not familiar, and I will be reading it because it's posted at Smerconish.com.
I'm not surprised you're not familiar with that. You mentioned Harry Potter. One more before we go, and I know we have to go. Yep. Congratulations to Daniel Radcliffe, Harry Potter, and his longtime girlfriend, Erin Dark, welcoming their first baby. We do not know anything else about it. Just know that the baby exists, so congratulations.
Mr. Potter, how old is he now?
33.
Wow. Holy smokes.
Yeah, he's a real person. How about
Holy
that?
Smokes.
I know. We met him when he was, in the show, 11, but I don't know exactly how old he was. He was a baby.
Ladies and gentlemen, if you're watching on YouTube, like and subscribe.
Hang on, I forgot, but I got it now.
Like and subscribe, like and subscribe, like and subscribe. Hope to see you tonight on CNN at 9 p.m. in the East. Subscribe to the newsletter. Most importantly, thank you for listening on POTUS. Be back here tomorrow.